Well, good evening, everyone. I think we should try to begin. I want to say akabo, merhaba, welcome from Johns Hopkins School of Advanced International Studies and the African Studies program. My name is Paul Lubeck, and I am a longtime friend of Lagos in Nigeria. I'm directing African Studies, and it's an enormous pleasure to welcome you here for a discussion and a promotion of technopreneurs and the information hubs within Lagos State, the model for innovation within Nigeria. Before I begin, I want to thank the Commissioner, Tunde Durosini Ete, for supporting us and making it happen, a former student who always remains loyal to his school. So let's thank Tunde, Commissioner. As many of you know, the governor was unable to attend and was called away on a family responsibility. So we are welcoming the Commissioner for Science and Technology here. But before I welcome him and summarize his achievements, I want to extend the warmest greeting from the Dean, Vali Nasser, and the Vice Dean, Peter Lewis, who is a true Lagosian. Many of you have met him, and he is finally stepping down from administration and will be returning and coming to Nigeria next year when he's on sabbatical. So he'll be coming to see you. So look for Peter Lewis, an old friend of Lagos, Nigeria, and the Southwest. So it is a thrill for me to speak about the role of regional governments like Lagos, because I've done comparative work in Southeast Asia, in Penang, and in Mexico, and in San Jose, Costa Rica, on the impact of the information revolution for regional economies like Lagos. It is a transformative industry. It changes the way people think. And the beauty of the information revolution is that if you produce high-quality products at a global level, knowledge is transferred and the value is contained within the knowledge. So that training, I noticed the technopreneurs that will be here, many of them are involved in education, schools, institutes. This is the key. Because once you educate and train and learning occurs, the value is transferred into the country and into the minds of your students, and it provides incubation for enterprises that Lagos has become famous for. So it is this transformation that I am advocating throughout Nigeria. And it's such a pleasure to see it be successful in Yaba and elsewhere in Nigeria. So I want to compliment you and thank you for your achievements. Thank you very much. So I wanted to introduce now our keynote speaker. He represents another dimension of the transformation that we're watching happen. And it is the role of networks across the Atlantic, networks of the diaspora who are born in Nigeria typically, but it couldn't go the other way, who come and work in the United States and carry that knowledge and go back to Lagos. It is what we call flexible citizenship, right? You've heard of flexible production. We've invented flexible citizenship, and this network is one of the conduits of knowledge that young people bring when they return, and it is the youth that we teach at SAIS who bring us close to activities processes, innovations within Nigeria. So please keep that relationship strong and healthy. The speaker today is Commissioner of Science and Technology, Hakeem Pham. He is someone who was born in Nigeria but came to the District of Columbia at the University of District of Columbia and developed the information technology program at the university, achieved a great deal of respect and knowledge, and then worked in Accenture services, later came on and worked on advising different companies, and has now become commissioner for Lagos State. It's an enormous pleasure to welcome him. We're looking forward to his insights and to what he can bring to the diaspora and to maintaining this vital linkage that's based on flexible citizenship and exchanges between Washington, SAIS, and Lagos. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to seize this opportunity to extend greetings from the Governor of Lagos State, Governor Akinwumi Ambode. It was scheduled to be here this evening, but due to unforeseen circumstances, he had to leave for Lagos this afternoon. Again, I will like to greet everyone again and to really express our appreciation to Johns Hopkins University, as well as Mr. Paul Lubak for making this event possible. Lagos is the center of excellence in Nigeria. Lagos is the smallest state in size, but Lagos is the champion of all the states in Nigeria in terms of technology, the gross domestic product. In terms of population, Lagos is about 21 million people. The budget is about $3 billion. In terms of workforce, we have about 100,000 employees working for the state, and the internet penetration rate is, that number is incorrect, it's 56%. Actually 61% for Lagos State and 56% for Nigeria. The mobile penetration rate is 62, and the vision is to make Lagos State Africa's model, mega city and global economic and financial hub. Lagos State, if we look at it in Nigeria's economy, it is the smallest in size in the sub-Saharan Africa, but the largest market, the largest ICT market in sub-Saharan Africa. It's the home of Nigerian capital and money market with over 2,000 financial institutions. It is the home of chief ports, air, sea, and land. We have over 50% of the GCM subscribers in Nigeria, the mobile telephones, over 50% of the subscribers in Nigeria, the rest of other states, take the remainder of 50%. The vehicular index, the largest number of vehicle ownership in Nigeria is in Lagos State, with over 222 kilometers as compared, 222 vehicles per kilometer as compared to the rest of the nation, which is around 11 kilometers. The internal generated revenue in Lagos State constitutes about 60% of the budget, and the rest from the federal allocation. And Lagos State's annual budget, a larger percentage of it is spent for capital improvement. Lagos State saw the need to promote technology in the country, and part of it is to enable technopreneurs. The model Lagos State adopted is to use the Ministry of Science and Technology as enabler. The same is also true for the Ministry of Commerce. But the actual project is driven by the private sector. The Ibile Holdings is the primary driver for the ICT hub in Nigeria. When you look at tech hubs across Africa, Johannesburg happens to be the largest, has the largest concentration of tech hubs, followed by Cairo, Nairobi, Kenya, and finally in Western Africa, Lagos. The total population of Nigeria is about 184 million people, as opposed to 1.2 billion in Africa. The internet penetration, as you can see, in Nigeria is 53%, and then for the rest of Africa, it's about 18%. The mobile subscription in Nigeria is very high. The same is true across Africa, but we continue to see a lot of growth in this area. If you take a look at the ICT sector in Nigeria, with a population of 192, the total number of active mobile lines is about 142. The mobile penetration, which is 74%, and the number of internet users in Nigeria is about 91 million. When you look at the number of mobile devices available in Nigeria, it becomes apparent that we need to take advantage of the technology. We're seeing a high use of technology in the banking industry, in the payment industry. These opportunities is why we have a lot of technopreneurs taking advantage of what Nigeria has to offer and developing enterprises around the technology. There are many of them out here today. We're proud to showcase them, and as you can see, tomorrow will be a day whereby they will even get additional training here in the US that they can take back with them back to Nigeria. In the area of mobile traffic, we see that Nigeria has the highest mobile traffic in the world. There is a lot, this is mobile when it comes to telephone. A lot of activities going on here has resulted in the expansion in the use of mobile devices to drive the financial economy. If you look at banking today, most of the merchants, they're taking advantage of mobile payments. So also, the consumers, they're also leveraging the technology to make payments. The banks are the banks do provide the platform to use mobile devices for payment, for communication, as well as for regular voice traffic. The vision of Lagos in the ICT sector, Governor Ambode said, we are Africa's fastest growing market and still the 5th largest economy in Africa with a gross domestic product of $91 billion. Our ultimate goal is to grow our GDP to move from 5th to 3rd largest in Africa. Governor Ambode has set the tone for Lagos. We are number 5 now, but we're not stopping there. Nigeria has many states. Lagos State is not comparing itself to the rest of other states in Nigeria, but to take a stand that we need to look beyond what we have now. We cannot continue to say we're the leader in Nigeria. We need to participate in the global economy. That's why Governor Ambode is looking forward to position Lagos as the 3rd largest with GDP in Africa. The next destination, when you look at Lagos in West Africa, Lagos is a large marketplace. In sub-Saharan, it is the largest ICT market. The GDP is 3 times any of West African countries. This is a report from the World Bank. The hub of West and Central African maritime and aviation. The node of West African pipeline project, as well as Nigeria nexus of Trans-African Highway. When you look at all these developments, Lagos continues to position itself to be the go-to place in Africa for business. And the government is putting enough resources in there to make sure that Lagos will be the ICT hub, not only for Nigeria, but an ICT hub that can be compared to any other cities in the world. The plan for action, the investment that Lagos State is making in ICT is very large. We have a lot of high-growth companies in technology, in finance, and capital markets. We all know that the jobs of tomorrow will be driven by IT. And it is very important that the state provide the enablement, the resources necessary to drive IT, not only for the state, not only for the country, but for Africa. Lagos decided to locate the ICT hub in Yaba. Yaba in Lagos is a suburb of Lagos Island. It is the home of the University of Lagos. It is also the home of the Yaba College of Technology. So it's not just a plain suburb, it is ICT ready. Lagos State government in order to move the project forward, acquired some lands, about 20,000 square meters, to put a new ICT hub. That 20,000 meters, square miles, 20,000 square meters is about 4 acres of land, which Lagos is investing and will also continue to expand in that area. Ibile Ibile Holdings is the driver of this project. When the project, within the next few years, the architectural prototype of the place has already been developed. As you can see, there's a dual carriageway separating the two sites and connected by a skyway. This will provide location for technopreneurs to establish their offices. Doesn't have to be on a permanent basis. It can be temporary. It can be, maybe there is need to have somewhere to use for a day, for a week, for a month. The infrastructure will be there. The resources will be there. Lagos State adopted a model for establishing a technology place like this to look at the 3 Ps. The first one, which is to provide power, because we know without power, you cannot have technology. So there is power. And then if you're going to have a technology hub, you also need a pipe. How are you going to take data in and out of the hub? Lagos State has already partnered with MainOne, which is a large internet service provider in Lagos State, to provide the pipe. Then the ping. Well, to provide the internet working so that technopreneurs only need to bring their laptop or their other equipment that are network enabled to bring them to the hub, and they can start operating their facilities. So we have all the 3 Ps. In addition to the 3 Ps, Nigeria also has the 4th P, and that one is the people. Our strength is in our people, and we have a lot of them here in this theater. If Microsoft can invest in a facility to bring 300 people to work in Lagos to solve not just help desk, not help desk at all, but to resolve problems at the 2nd and 3rd level of troubleshooting and development, then we need to take a look at that and see there is something in Nigeria that we should all be proud of. Our technopreneurs, our brains, our students, they're the one working in this facility. The facility was opened about 2 weeks ago with 300 employees. And before they even open up the facility, they've decided to lease 2 additional floors to expand the facility to 1,000 people. That is bringing 1,000 additional jobs to Lagos. And when you look at the multiplier effect, that will bring growth to the economy. GE is also investing in Nigeria. There are other companies too, but the important ones is the confidence that the technopreneurs see in their country that we can do it here. And they're working continuously to make it possible. Governor Ambode decided to invest in this facility, way beyond the federal government of Nigeria is doing. So Lagos is always at the forefront of development in Nigeria. It is an environment that is conducive to productivity. It is a relaxing environment as well as a facility that will enable the growth of the technopreneurs. In Lagos, we want you to live there, we want you to work there, and we want you to enjoy Lagos. Yaba ICT Hub. Yaba ICT Hub is the place to be. Microsoft and GE already signed up to be part of the hub. We're very happy to have them on board. The technopreneurs, we strongly encourage them as they grow to make Yaba Hub the go-to place for technology in Nigeria. As you can see, part of the concept is to have the inside of the place to be conducive to doing work in a relaxed environment, in a stress-free environment. And we value the works of the technocrats, the technopreneurs, in the sense that they're growing the economy in Nigeria. At the same time, they're making Lagos also a smart city because the government is investing heavily into developing Lagos as a smarter city. This year alone, the government already allocated over 45 billion, about 45 billion naira to spend in developing Lagos as a smart city. As part of the Smart City Initiative, we're going to have a safer Lagos, which the government has continued to work on. We're going to have intelligent transportation system. At the same time, the hub of everything, which is the data center, will also be built as a result of the smart city. This project is being run by private effort. Mr. Amokomowo is the head of the Ibile Holdings. He's here in the audience. If you have additional questions later, you can talk to him. The Ministry of Wealth Creation has been instrumental in making this effort possible on the Nigerian side. It started from the former commissioner, Mr. Dr. Duro Simieti. And also now being led by Ms. Usamat Yusuf. So again, the role of Ibile is to aggregate the resources, the land, capital, human, technical resources, infrastructure, and so on, attract equity participation in the project, to coordinate the project design and construction, marketing, sales, and also operations. We also have the project steering committee. I'm the co-chair with the former commissioner for communications in Nigeria, Dr. Omobola Johnson. Mrs. Usamat Yusuf is also a member of the committee, so also Mrs. Onabule. I believe the project management team is essential. Ascension was selected before I joined Lagos State government. So disclosure. Disclosure. And at the inaugural meeting, I gave them the credit for going after Accenture because Accenture is one of the largest management consulting firms in the world, and they have a good track record in running a project like this. The other strategic partners, as I mentioned earlier, Main One Cable Company, Microsoft, and General Electric. So again, I thank you all very much for coming. As our governor always says, ìtẹ̀síwájú ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó. Thank you.
Thank you very much for a enormously informative presentation with a vision that I'm sure will impact the youth and the other regions of Nigeria as well. Our next speaker is Hakeem Adeniji Adele. Sorry. He holds an honors degree from University of London in Computer Science. He has worked extensively in an area that all of us know Nigeria will benefit from, and that is e-governance and e-health and record keeping, and to be able to manage the enormous growth in services and in governance that so many Nigerians and the Friends of Nigeria hope to deliver. He is the Chief Technology Officer on the Microsoft side, and one of the wonderful aspects of having an anchor investor like Microsoft is that this is a learning institution that your children and other employees are going to benefit from enormously. Just to have them present and functioning within your city creates value and distributes knowledge. I worked in a similar project with Intel when it operated in Malaysia, and it was astonishing that they had trained all of the engineers. When you went to the so-called factory, it was called a campus. Every single employee at Intel had an opportunity to achieve any degree that they desired, and once they achieved a credential, Intel paid for it because they invested as part of their strategy in upgrading human capital and human resources and making them more effective. So you could not do better than Microsoft and the people who work there. And with their model, it's a win-win. So it's with enormous pleasure that I welcome Hakeem, and I hope everyone will be able to come tomorrow and see and listen and learn from the technopreneurs. Hakeem.
Good evening, everyone. So I'm not giving a presentation. I'm here to just give an oversight, or rather insight into our meeting today with His Excellency. All protocols observed, honorable commissioners. First of all, I'm really proud to be here today. First, I'm going to remove my Microsoft hat now, as a Lagosian. And secondly, I really believe that in the next few months, we're going to see what we call an IT race between the federal government and Lagos State. Honestly, I'm serious. So we had a meeting today with His Excellency. I know he met with GE and a few other OEMs to discuss this very important digital transformation of Lagos State into a smart city. Now, we started this journey about 3 years ago. When he came to office, he reached out to us and he said to us, I want to transform the way I interact with the citizens of Lagos State. Now, we've heard this before. We thought, okay, another governor has come in to, give the usual speech of being a tech, Lagos State being a tech city. But over the past 3 months, or 3 years, what we've realized is he's been really deliberate in what he really wants to achieve. Now, Microsoft, our mission is really to empower every organization on the planet to achieve more. And what that means is, how can we create an enabling environment for governments, for cities, and for individuals as well? Now, the Honorable Commissioner mentioned that we've invested enormously in Lagos State. What I want us to take from that investment is this. The 300 people that we employed were all from Lagos State. Now, Microsoft is a public quoted company. We will never take our money into a state where we feel we won't get our returns. So it's really important for us to understand that. We have enormous talent in Lagos. When we invited, there was actually a fight between 3 countries, Kenya, South Africa, I think was it I can't remember, Rwanda. Now Lagos State won. It is important for us to kind of take that in. When we met with him, he took time out to listen to us. We promised the company that we had enormous talent, so we went to the universities to recruit. During the interview process, we set up a portal where we asked for CVs. We were overwhelmed by the amount of talent that we got. And everyone was like, wow, in Lagos? We concentrate on how we speak English, but then when you actually kind of double click on the talent, you'll be surprised at what you get. Hence, we've decided to invest more. That was why we asked for the 2 floors. Now, when we met with the governor this morning, it was supposed to be a 30-minute meeting, but he ended up having a chat with us for an hour and a half. And we touched on 4 important pillars, which I've written down here, so I'll regurgitate. The first is, how do we engage Lagosians? How do we develop, or rather deliver, personalized and rich connected experiences in their journey? If they want to apply for permits, how do we make it accessible? How do we democratize technology? We gave him options, and he accepted. The second, how do we empower civil servants in Lagos? How do we make them more effective? How will they keep up with the fast-moving experiences that Lagosians are used to? Everyone uses mobile phones now. So why should I queue to get an application permit? Can I just go on Lagos State portal and download and pay and get it? How do we remove the middleman? So we call that empowering the civil servants. How do we give them email access so that you can track your permits like you see in any other country? He accepted that. The third one is, how do we optimize the operations they currently have? Now, Lagos State is by far the most techno-centric state in Nigeria. But how do we optimize those operations? How do we make what they have now smarter? How do we consolidate the databases that they have? We gave him options. And by the way, I'm not just talking from a Microsoft perspective. I'm talking about all the other OEMs that he met. So we gave him options, and he also accepted. Then the fourth one is, how do we transform the experiences that they have right now? And what that means is, how do we enrich the portal that Lagos State has right now? We gave him options again. I don't want to say too much here simply because of with a lot of other, we have other companies in here, and I just don't want to talk about the solutions they have. So, so excuse me. Yeah. So we gave him those. Well, rather, we discussed those 4 different pillars. I'll just talk about them again: engaging citizens, empowering civil servants through technology. The third one, optimizing the operations they currently have, and transforming services. So for the technopreneurs, think about those 4 pillars and think about how you can actually invest your time in coming up with technology solutions. Then the last thing we spoke to him about was, he was the one that actually mentioned it, and I was surprised. He said to my bosses, he said, I want Lagos to be a cloud-first state. That blew me away. Now, when that happens, Lagos will be the first state, or should I say mini country, in Africa to achieve that feat. A cloud-first state. What that means is you've completely democratized technology. Anyone can build applications based on the protocols, of course, that Ministry of Science and Tech has published. And you can start publishing apps onto the platform. That's a game changer. It changes everything. So as Microsoft, we're really proud to partner with and empower Lagos State with our leading technology applications and platform, so that we can really seize the vast opportunities that we have ahead. I'm grateful to be part of this journey, because I believe it's one that will define the next 10, 15, and 20 years. And I'm also grateful to the Honorable Commissioners and the Governor as well for giving Microsoft and GE and all the other OEMs the platform to be part of this. We are vested. He did ask my bosses today if we were definitely interested in being part of the Yaba ICT Hub. And the first thing, it was, I looked at me and I was like, yes, and it goes, yes, we are interested. So I think that's a landmark. This will be the first time we're really having a center of excellence. We call it a COX in Africa. South Africa, as you know, has really frog-leaped when it comes to technology. And no countries really come behind apart from Kenya and Rwanda. But on the scale we're talking about with Lagos State, I believe the fact that Microsoft and Microsoft partners are investing, it is really the place to be. If you do have any solutions, I'm not going to put my Microsoft hat back on. If you have any solutions and you feel that we can assist you in enabling those solutions, please reach out to me. We have a platform. We're not a software company. We're a platform. What that means is that we work with any technology. Thank you so much, and we look forward to working with Lagos State. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Hakeem. The next presentation is on the Yaba ICT Hub. I spent time in Yaba at Lagos University. I know the region, and I was delighted to see it emerge as a hub. It's the CEO of Ibile Holdings will make the presentation. Mr. Biodun Amukonomo. We're trying, so thank you very much for agreeing to make this presentation. Thank you. explain it. I tried to get him to come, but he should come as our student, not as the next commissioner, right? Say a few words.
I believe the presentation to be taken by Billy Holdens has actually been explicitly explained in the presentation by the Honorable Commissioner for Science and Tech. So what we'll probably be having is a repetition. And I believe I want to use this medium, maybe it's not really too close, but to start what we believe will be essentially a Lagos week, this time at SAIS this week. I want to use this medium to sort of once again thank our host, SAIS, Washington, and our partners who have made this possible, and most importantly, our technopreneurs that have actually come from all the way from Lagos. It's not easy boarding a flight, some coming across Europe, some flying in directly on a 12, 13-hour flight. And basically, I believe it will be worth every while, both for us to be able to showcase what's happening in Lagos in the technology space. One of the reasons how this was conceived initially was basically an idea coming into Washington, and the idea is that American entrepreneurs needed to teach entrepreneurs in Lagos a lot. And we looked at it, and I told them, and I said, we have the Mark Zuckerbergs that actually visited Lagos. We do have quite a lot of American investors actually in that field. And I believe, like I said, I didn't want to say it, I don't want to be, maybe I'll be a bit polite and say they were being old-fashioned, not thinking that the technopreneurs from Lagos has a lot to offer to be able to bring down to Washington. So I will implore that for those that want to stay, it's going to be an exciting week at SAIS, and we'll sure welcome you to join in the upcoming events. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tunde. So everyone has a copy of the program for tomorrow. We'll be starting at 8:30 with breakfast. We welcome the technopreneurs. I look forward to working with them. I've also spent several summers working in Nigeria doing trainings on information technology and digital apps. I'll be working on another one this summer. So it's something that emphasizes the flows between Lagos and Nigeria and the United States and the mutual learning. As someone who lives close to Silicon Valley in California, the idea of immigrants engaging in productive activity, learning, innovating within the United States, bringing it to their home countries, returning with new ideas, is one of our most successful achievements in America, and I know Lagos is going to add to enrich that tradition. So thank you so much for coming. We welcome you once again. Thank you.